broadcasting live 4 days a week worldwide
from the sunny beaches of Southern California.
This is ExtremeHealthRadio.com.
Hi, this is Dr. Ed Group from Global Healing Center. I hope you tune in and listen to Justin and Kate's Extreme Health Radio. It will transform your life, and you will get all the best health information you need.
Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us on our little podcast here. I appreciate you joining the radio show, and we apologize we're not live today. This is a real technically challenging morning, I would say.
Love the internet, hate the internet.
Yep.
You never know what you're getting to.
Our entire website is down at the moment, so we're pre-recording this show for you. This is episode number 223, and for reference, this is Thursday, March 27th, 2014, and we've got Ken Presner on the line, and it's going to be a great show. We're going to be talking about his story with Crohn's disease, Mercury amalgam fillings, and zapping, and all kinds of stuff. So he's put together a really great website called, it's actually at zap.intergate.ca, zap.intergate.ca. So we'll introduce him in just a moment. And like I said, this is episode 223. So you can typically listen to us live at extremehealthradio.com/live and join the chat room. But today's show, we're pre-recording this, so we apologize for that. And we're working on our website at the moment. And we've got some great guests coming up on our show. Always got great guests lined up. Next week, we have Adam Bergstrom, and we'll be talking about chronobiotic nutrition and when to eat and the lunar cycles and all kinds of crazy, amazing stuff that Adam Bergstrom brings to us. And then we've got Daniel Vitalis. We'll be talking about the intrinsic taboo.
The intrinsic taboo?
Huh?
What does that mean?
I have no idea, but he'll have enough to say about it for sure. For sure. The intrinsic taboo. He always comes up with great information. Then we have Dr. Nicholas Gonzalez out in New York, and he's doing a lot of work with pancreatic cancer and proteolytic enzymes and these types of things, and he works with people that has pancreatic cancer. So we've got a lot of good stuff coming up, as well as our Free For All Friday shows, and all of our shows are 9 a.m. Pacific, live every morning, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So make sure to listen live and join the chat room and all that fun stuff. And so today we have Ken Presner, and he was actually, his story is amazing, was actually paralyzed and bedridden with multiple sclerosis in 1989. And after that, he almost died on the operating table at St. Paul's Hospital in Vancouver when he was having abdominal surgery for Crohn's disease. And it took about 7 years for him to get his life back. And he developed a whole recovery protocol that he's got on his website. And he got tuned into the work of Dr. Hulda Clark and zapping and parasites, which we've been doing a lot of work in lately, talking to people about parasites. So
Quite the hot topic.
It is, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, Ken Presner. So thank you so much, Ken, for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, so whereabouts are you located?
I'm in Southeast Asia. I live in Cambodia. Married to a Cambodian. Been over in this part of the world for about 13 years. And my business is in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Has been since 1996. I run it from over here.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so you live over in Cambodia, and then your business is in Vancouver.
That's right.
Interesting. Wow. Okay, when did you move to Cambodia?
I moved to this part of the world, to Southeast Asia, in 2001. And I moved to Cambodia over 8 years ago.
Now, why did you pick Cambodia?
Well, that's a long story. It's a very long story. I think it's going to take more than an hour, more than the time we've got. Let's just say that it came about through just looking for options, the best options for my lifestyle, for my I would say, spiritual and physical needs, and this fit the bill.
Wow. So was it a political thing in terms of coming up against resistance with your work at all, or no?
No, it had nothing to do with that.
Okay.
Nothing to do with that at all. This moving over here was just a life-changing decision that I made many years ago, and things have worked out very well.
Wow.
And that's it.
We talk with a lot of people all over the world, and this is the first time we've ever spoke with anyone in Cambodia.
That's right.
There you go.
Is the lifestyle there pretty healthy and pretty good for you, I would imagine?
Well, you have to carve out a lifestyle for yourself over here. I live on the coast, so I live a healthy life by the beach. I spend a lot of time doing keeping fit and exercising and doing workouts and things like that in the healthy air near the coast here. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't say Phnom Penh has healthy air. Mm-hmm. Wow. I would say that this country has a little bit of work to do when it comes to air pollution.
Wow. So now in Cambodia, so you've been there for over 8 years in Cambodia. So your story, it looks like on your website you have a link for your recovery protocol that is on your website. And you were going to get surgery for Crohn's disease in 1994?
I had surgery at St. Paul's Hospital on the 5th of April in 1994. In Vancouver.
And so what was going on in your life prior to that when you, I guess, developed Crohn's disease, probably many years before that?
Well, this was a process. I was bedridden, paralyzed with multiple sclerosis in 1989. And it took me many years to start to become, partially mobile. And I was struck down by Crohn's disease starting in the summer of 1993. I ran a fever for about 9 months, I think it was, 8 or 9 months before I was operated on. I had a fever every day and went through a whole process which I talk about my recovery protocol in the book that's called My Recovery Protocol. I have a new book coming out called Against All Odds that tells my story. So the story is a rather long one and involved. The process of getting from 1989 with multiple sclerosis to 1993 with Crohn's disease was a very tortuous one, as you can imagine. I only started to really figure things out in 1995. It was a slow process of trying to figure out what the problem was, which was mercury fillings. They call them silver amalgam fillings, but that's the big dental mercury lie. They're 50% mercury. Mm-hmm. And I had known vaguely, little bits and pieces about mercury fillings way back in the 1980s, but I made the wrong decision to allow my dentist to do dental work on me in 1989, and shortly after I was paralyzed. So the route from 1989 with MS to Crohn's disease was a very difficult one, and then getting through Crohn's disease, but not, of course, surgery doesn't cure Crohn's disease. They guaranteed me I'd be back for surgery within 5 years. Of course, I've never been back for surgery. They gave me the diagnosis, they operated on me, and it was left up to me, as with multiple sclerosis, to find out what the problem was. It was a matter that my life was on the line, and I was either going to make it or I wasn't going to make it. And I decided from the beginning that I was going to make it, and I did.
That's amazing. So prior to 1989, you had said you had some inkling in your life about the mercury fillings, but do you think that the mercury fillings were themselves directly tied to the multiple sclerosis that you had in 1989?
100%.
100%. Wow.
Sure, cause and effect. Absolutely. The dental work was done in the summer of 1989. The dentist used no precautions. I was on a dental plan. He drilled out 14 mercury fillings and put 14 new mercury fillings back in. And I went on holidays with my wife at the time, and I said to her, I feel like I've been hit by a freight train. The cause and effect was absolutely no doubt about it. And in the intervening years, in the last 18 years that I've been talking to people on my site, people who have MS, the vast majority of them have a similar story of cause and effect, direct correlation with mercury fillings.
Now, do you think that other neurological diseases like Alzheimer's and things like that, I'm sure there's lots of other diseases that are completely tied to the mercury fillings as well?
No doubt about it, absolutely. You see, the difficulty is that mercury fillings are implicated in a very wide variety of conditions, illnesses, and diseases. So the ADA talks about MS on their site to the exclusion of all other conditions and diseases. But the fact is that mercury fillings are implicated, in my opinion, with a wide variety of not only neurological diseases, but non-neurological diseases. When we're talking about neurological diseases, we're talking about Parkinson's, ALS, lupus, bipolar disorder, Alzheimer's, epilepsy. Tom Warren wrote a book called Beating Alzheimer's. His story was almost identical to mine. How did he beat Alzheimer's? Who beats Alzheimer's? You know, you don't read about people beating Alzheimer's. You know, but Tom Warren beat Alzheimer's. What was it? Mercury fillings. What did he do? Same things, not all the things, but similar things that I write about in my recovery protocol. In children, you have disease names called cerebral palsy, autism, retardation, ADD, muscular dystrophy. There was a lawsuit in 2008 against the FDA by Moms Against Mercury. They won the lawsuit, and the FDA very kindly, undoubtedly under pressure from the ADA, overturned their decision in 2009 and decided, no, we made a mistake. Well, they've been sued again in March. The FDA has been sued again. So I hope the lawsuit will be successful and will not be overturned this time. But it's well overdue for for a resolution of this this terrible scourge of that has been foisted upon the population since 1859, when the ADA was came into existence. All the lies and the criminality and the diseases and the suffering and the deaths, not only from neurological diseases. Mercury poisoning has been implicated in heart disease and in thyroid disease. There are receptors on the whole endocrine system. All of the glands are affected by mercury. There are receptors, iodine receptors on the thyroid gland, for example. And when dental mercury comes into play, the receptors are captured by mercury, and the iodine cannot get onto the receptors to activate the thyroid. So you have hypothyroid or Hashimoto's disease. They always give it somebody's name.
You got to have a name on that.
Crohn, Parkinson, Hashimoto. Like, what do you got? I got a Hashimoto. I got an Alzheimer's. I got a Parkinson's. You know.
That is so true.
So they want to label you and get this label to stick.
Right.
So I had hypothyroid as well. I had two hats, 2 pairs of gloves, 2 pairs of socks, 2 pairs of everything, to keep warm. Well, this is very, very common. This comes my way all the time. I have a thyroid page on my site. Heart disease, diabetes, type 1. There is growing evidence of the link between mercury fillings and diabetes type 1. Mercury goes into the islets of Langerhans, and it prevents the proper functioning. It prevents the creation of insulin. So it essentially kills the pancreas.
Wow.
So I mean, it just goes on and on. The implications are so devastating. The surface has only been scratched, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So, Ken, when you first kind of were putting the puzzle pieces together, and you made that obviously direct correlation, what's the first thing you did? Did you run out and get those right out again out of your mouth, or what? How did that go?
Well, this also was a process. When I came out of the barium test at St. Paul's Hospital, they said, "Well, for sure it's Crohn's disease. We don't even have to wait and send the thing to your doctor. We know it already." I got out of there. I said, "Great, a second disease. Great." I said to myself. I said to myself right away, "I know they're linked. I know they're linked. I'm going to find out what it is." So. What I had done over the years, I had done some reading, and then in 1995, I came to the point where this was in the spring, the late spring of '95. I got to the point where I was ready to have the dental work done. I had done some research. I was in touch with a naturopath in Vancouver, and he diagnosed me with parasites. And I was surprised at parasites. I had visions of, only people in third world countries where you pick up these, horrible things.
Right.
And he says, yes, parasites. I said, well, what the heck? What do I do about them? And he said, well, you have to kill the parasites. And there's a book on the market called The Cure for All Diseases that you can get. I said, well, where do I get a copy? He says, well, it's not on the stands yet, but here's a name of a woman who's selling them door to door. So what I did was I contacted her, and she. I bought the book from her, and I asked her if she knew a practitioner who could do the dental work safely, and she said, yes, I know somebody in Vancouver. So she gave me the name of an excellent dentist in Vancouver who I went to and had the work done safely. And then the process of going through, of discovering how to remove mercury from the organs and bodily tissues and systems, this was the next step, and that was also a complicated process. So
wow.
This is, it wasn't something that came in a package delivered to the door.
Yeah.
Every step took, everything took time and a lot of energy and work and money to discover and to follow through.
That's amazing.
Wow, healing is not for the weak, is it?
No, it's quite a journey.
No.
We have a dentist that we go to, a biological holistic dentist named Dr. Stuart Nunley in Texas, and he recently, a couple years ago, took our mercury out, and he's an incredible man, and he has quite a story himself. He had what they think was the beginnings of Lou Gehrig's disease, because about 10 years ago, he was still practicing dentistry just the normal way, and he was removing mercury fillings and all these things on a regular basis. And he had problems with shaking, and they were all convinced that he had Lou Gehrig's disease, and he was able to overcome that through vitamin C and sweating, and now he's turned on to Hal Huggins, and he's a completely biological dentist now. He's just an amazing man, but it is possible to overcome these things.
Well, there's a lot of dentists who come down with with various diseases and conditions. It's no surprise that, as far as I'm concerned, that dentists have the highest suicide rate of any professional group.
Right.
Depression is the number one psychological effect of mercury poisoning. And speaking of Dr. Huggins, I don't think he advertises it, but he himself had MS. He had a dental practice in Colorado Springs, regular mercury practice, and he developed MS from his using mercury in his practice. He turned it around. He turned his practice around. He had I don't know who did his dental work, but he had his dental work done and did chelation, detoxification, various things, and he overcame multiple sclerosis himself. I met him in Vancouver in 1997. We spent a day together. He was on a speaking tour, and I took him around to various places, and he did a radio interview, and he's an incredible incredible person. I have a great deal of respect for him. And, of course, they trumped up charges and ran him out of the country. He had he opened a clinic in Colorado Springs, and he helped over 1,000 people overcome MS in his clinic. Well, that wasn't going over very well with the medical and other authorities, right. And so they trumped up some charges, and as is not uncommon, setups and all kinds of things go on, disinformation. There are all kinds of things to try to bring down alternative practitioners and people who might, like myself, who are not a practitioner, but who are expressing strong opinions and have some things to say. He's in Mexico now and has a very successful practice down there.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, we're working on getting him on the show. And
Great.
Yeah, he's just an amazing guy. Mm-hmm. We're with Ken Presner, and his website is zap.intergate.ca. And typically we are live, so you can join us live Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific for our live shows. And you can join the chat room and listen and ask your questions that way. Ken Presner is a fascinating guy. Again, his website is zap.intergate.ca. And we will put a link to his website on this show page, which is episode 223. So you can go to extremehealthradio.com/223. And we're going to be right back with Ken right after this break. We're going to talk a lot about parasites and zapping, bacteria, and his work with Hulda Clark and all this amazing information. So we'll be right back with Ken right after this break. I have to say, I have been absolutely loving this product by Tristan Truscott and Peter Ragnar called Good Morning, Good Evening Qigong. If you want to listen to the interview we did with Tristan, you can go to extremehealthradio.com/127. And Qigong is a great way to de-stress the body. And as you know, there's a huge component to disease caused by stress. And stress is a huge factor in how we live our lives and the amount of energy we have and the amount of vitality we have. And so, Dr. Shade, what do you think about Qigong?
People come to me and they're really sick and they got this blown out neurological system and all this toxicity. And I tell them, you need to do Qigong, Tai Chi. You need to do these things that settle down and restore your neurology, because it puts together all the parts. It puts you back into that state where you can start to detoxify. And so I highly, highly recommend all that.
And what about you, Kit Campbell? What do you think about Qigong? Do you like it as well?
Qigong is amazing. And the reason that I believe it to be amazing is everything here is energy. That is a scientific fact, if there ever is one. So when you're practicing Qigong, you're actually drawing energy into your body. Your intention, whatever your intention is behind any action, will determine the level of energy, type of energy that you absorb into your body. So your intention behind is very important, just like thought. So when you're practicing Qigong, you're actually bringing energy in and you're bringing out the stuff that might be a bit stale. With Tai Chi, it's totally different. The energy runs underneath the skin because it's more of a martial. This is the Chinese understanding, by the way. It's more of a martial art. So Qigong is very, very good for bringing that energy into the body, and just fantastic.
If you're interested in picking up this Qigong course by Tristan Truscott and Peter Ragnar, go to extremehealthradio.com/Qigong. That's QIGONG. And you can learn more about it. There's a great video on that page, and you can learn more about it on that page. And I highly, highly recommend this product. I love it myself, so go ahead and check that out. extremehealthradio.com/Qigong.
Listener supported. Extreme Health Radio. Opening minds and transforming lives worldwide. Don't forget to join our thriving community for health tips, inspiration, and show updates at extremehealthradio.com/Facebook.
See, Kate, we still don't know what he's talking about, this singer here, right? Do we?
I think until we change this song, we're always going to have that question.
We're always going to... We've got to find out what he's talking about.
Lord knows what he's saying, but it sounds good.
Oh, my gosh. So we're having a great time with Ken Presner all the way from Cambodia. Isn't it crazy, the magic of the internet? Here we are in Southern California. Ken Presner's in Cambodia. And a listener could be listening in Switzerland in 5 years from now.
Wow.
Isn't it just...
We have to remember that when we have these things like this morning that try to beat us down and we get all mad at technology. But look at what we're capable of doing.
It's just really incredible,
It's
isn't it?
incredible.
Yeah, really, really incredible. So Ken Presner, his website is zap.intergate.ca. So there's no www. It's just zap.intergate.ca. And if you guys have any questions about that commercial that we just ran for the Qigong, if you'd like to ask me any questions, please let me know. I'd love to help you out. You can listen to the show that we did with Tristan Truscott, episode 127.
And Peter Ragnar.
And you can listen to that and find out more about Qigong. It's an amazing course, and I highly recommend it. So make sure to check that out. And as the lady said, don't forget to follow us on Facebook. We'd love to have you join our community and stay up to date with our show, with our archive show, with our past shows, with upcoming shows, and our schedule, and all kinds of fun stuff on Facebook. So don't forget to keep up to date with everything we have going on there. So this is a fascinating interview with Ken Presner. And I'm curious, Ken, as far as the Mercury and the...
Parasite connection.
Yeah, the parasite connections. Kate and I were talking during the break. Is there a connection between Mercury and parasites, do you think?
Well, there is between Mercury and parasites and a lot of other things. Let's put it this way. Mercury is correlated with many different illnesses, conditions, diseases. It's also correlated very highly with certain kinds of pathogens, some of which may not have been identified, but that can show up in a parasitic condition. In other words, you may have mercury fillings, and then you find that you end up with Crohn's disease, and part of Crohn's disease is parasites. Well, I never got the ID on the parasites. I just killed them. So there are parasites that are attracted to dental mercury that is found in various organs, bodily systems, various areas of the body. Also, mercury attracts specific pathogens such as candida. Now, I have never heard of a single case in 18 years that I've had my site where there was not a direct correlation between candida and mercury fillings. Lyme disease, for instance, there is a very high correlation between Lyme disease and mercury fillings. I am finding this more and more. Karen Allen, who was quite a famous actress in Steven Spielberg's Indiana Jones movies with Harrison Ford years ago. She has attracted a lot of attention because she used my Zapper for Lyme disease, and after 4 hours she was free of pain and symptoms 2 days later, and that's 4 hours of zapping only. And she's been free since, it's well over 7 years now. Wow. She has brought a lot of people with Lyme disease to my site, a lot of people who have had great results with the Ultimate Zapper without getting the dental work done. But with getting the dental work done, that takes you to an even higher level. I have a testimonial archive with 628 testimonials, unsolicited testimonials. I believe that's the number now. And there is a whole section on people with Lyme disease. Not only Karen Allen's testimonial, so she has attracted attention and brought people to my site who wanted to do the best that they could for Lyme disease, and have really had great results with the Ultimate Zapper.
So, Ken, let's go back a little bit. Take us through your story. Let's go back a little bit to where we were talking about before. So, at some point during your journey, you stumbled onto the work of Hulda Clark and this whole idea of zapping. And then how did you get involved with making your own zapper?
Yes, what happened was when I bought the book that I referred to before the break, The Cure for All Diseases by Hulda Clark. I read about this tapper zapper. You attach the wires to the battery terminals, and you tap the electrodes, and you're supposed to get some results. Well, it was you get a little tired tapping for so many minutes, and at the end of it all, I didn't see anything. I didn't see any results. But on my site, I have down the right-hand margin, you will see there are 6 categories, and the last category is called Straight Talk. And one of the links under Straight Talk is how I invented the Ultimate Zapper. Well, what happened was I was really intrigued. There's something really stuck with me when I read Hulda Clark's book about parasites and mental and chemical toxicity, and it really hit me deeply. And it just so happened that in January of 1996, I got a little leaflet. I can't remember where I picked up the leaflet, a local health food store, I think, in Vancouver. And the leaflet said that there was going to be a meeting in Bellingham, Washington, about Hulda Clark and the parasite killing and Zapper technology, things like this. And so 4 of us piled in my Volkswagen Beetle and went down to Bellingham, slid down the interstate. It was really icy and snowy, and we got to this mall, and there was a hall that was set up for a little conference on Hulda Clark. And when I walked into the hall, there was a desk with a zapper and a draw. Well, the person you had a number, and the person who drew the number won the zapper. I looked at the zapper, and it was an instantaneous, very strong feeling. I said, "That's mine. I won that zapper." I just knew it before I put my number in the box.
Really?
I knew I'd won the zapper. It's one of these crazy things, Wow. It was really a strong, and I would say something spiritual was happening. And my name was drawn, and I won the zapper. And that was it.
Wow.
So I went to pick up the zapper at. There was someone in north of Bellingham who was making them. Mm-hmm. And I had to pick them up. I had to pick the zapper up at his place, and picked it up. I don't remember if it was that same weekend or following weekend, and took it home and started to use it. And by golly, you see, I still had symptoms from Crohn's disease. The operation, when they open you up and cut parts of you out and all the rest of it, sew you back up. It doesn't cure Crohn's disease, and I still had a lot of intestinal upset. I had been doing, after I bought the book, I had been doing Hulda Clark's herbal parasite killing formula, and that was really good. But still, there were things that were lingering. It was unresolved, and now the zapper that I won in Bellingham, well, that was really doing things very well. There was still some lack of resolution of the problem, but it was much better, I felt, than the herbal formula. Yeah. So I knew I was onto something with the herbs and with the zapper. Mm-hmm. So I had a friend who was electronically inclined as I was, and I said, "Well, why don't we open this thing up and see what's in there?" Anyway, we opened it up, and I said, "Well, I think I can, I think I can build a better one. I think I can make one that's going to really resolve my health problems and help other people, because I knew other people were interested in zappers and had battery zappers, and were using them in Vancouver at the time. It was very young, very new, but this was something that was becoming known. So I got down on the floor and I just started to make prototypes. It took me 9 months of various. I had an oscilloscope and I tested, made prototypes. I tested and I came up with the Ultimate Zapper as a result of all of that work. So that was the genesis of it.
That's amazing. So when you were doing the testing and things like that, you would obviously test it on your own symptoms and you'd be getting results.
Exactly, because I felt that if I could get something that resolved my symptoms of an incurable disease, like Crohn's disease, well, I was definitely onto something very, what I felt would be very important.
So, Ken, at this time, were you experiencing still symptoms from the MS?
Yes, I was still experiencing some symptoms from MS, but I was in 1995. We have to go back again. In 1995, after I had my dental work done, I started on a program of detoxification, and this took me into 1996. So I was recovering from MS. In tandem with my recovery from Crohn's disease.
Isn't that wow?
The whole process of detoxification, herbal parasite killing, zapping, detoxifying, and chelation, all of this was working together to resolve both of the illnesses that I had.
Isn't that wild? So now with the Zapper itself, I know there's lots of different types of Zappers. Can you talk a little bit about your technology, like the square wave versus the sine wave and these types of all these different things that go into making Zappers?
Yeah, sure. All Zappers have a positive offset square wave.
Okay.
Now, there are, of course, many Zappers out there. Some manufacturers call their devices zappers, but they're not really zappers. So this is very complicated. I have on the FAQ page on my site, number 4 explains the difference between frequency generators and zappers. Zappers are not frequency generators. When you get into frequency generators, you get into choosing frequencies, into dialing in frequencies to kill specific pathogens at the frequency that they vibrate at, their own frequencies. So you get into an entirely different area because you need diagnosis for the various pathogens.
Right.
And then you need a frequency generator, a device that will kill each one individually, and you get into a very complicated and expensive process. This is what Hulda Clark said, that she confused people about the issue, but if you read her books closely, she said in the end people will, because it is so complicated and difficult to go the route of frequency generators, most people will choose the Zapper option because zapping can kill all of the pathogens by a single frequency. And this is the beauty of the Zapper. So initially, her Zapper and the Ultimate Zapper as it started out was 25,000 to 30,000 hertz, 25 kilohertz to 30 kilohertz. Later on, we discovered, and Dr. Clark knew as well, that some of the lower frequencies in the area of 2,000 to 2,500 hertz does a better job of killing parasites. But one should not confuse that factor with the fact that it is not the frequency per se that is doing the killing of the parasites and other pathogens. It is an ideal frequency, but there have to be other factors involved for the Zapper to be effective. The beauty of the Ultimate Zapper is it has 12 features, which no other Zapper on the market has. I have a Zapper comparison chart page with 5 comparison charts that compare 28 of the most popular Zappers against the Ultimate Zapper, and it shows that the Ultimate Zapper, just on technical issues, just on specifications, is superior to any other Zapper out there. It has a near 100% duty cycle, stabilized wave, point-to-point wiring, a distortion-free wave, constant high voltage, high conductivity, enhanced penetration, powerful low frequency that we just talked about, superior harmonics, and harmonics are very important. There are no harmonics with so-called digital zappers that are actually frequency generators, and harmonics are a very important part of the effectiveness of zapping. Blood electrification is an important, very important feature, a very powerful electroporation effect that other zapper makers deny, that the Ultimate Zapper in fact has, and or expansion. Those 12 features work synergistically. So it is not just the frequency that creates the effect, it is the synergy of these 12 features working together that is the key and the secret to the tremendous effectiveness of the Ultimate Zapper that you can read about in the testimonial archive, where the people have submitted over 600 unsolicited testimonials.
Okay, this is fascinating.
Wow.
So we're going to talk a little bit about that. I want to talk about the synergy, because there's something to the effect of, I'm curious about, what the Rife people say about finding the exact frequency of things, and you're saying it's not necessarily the exact frequency, although that can be a good thing. It's the synergy between these 12 different things. So I don't really want to get into that a little bit. Make sure to visit Ken Presner's website, zap.intergate.ca, and you can check out more about the Ultimate Zapper. Fascinating stuff. And he's got some ebooks on there about his recovery protocol and his liver cleanse and all kinds of good stuff. So we'll be right back with Ken right after this break. Kate and I have had our sauna for about a year now, I'd say, when we first got it from Phil Wilson. And it's an incredible machine. We use ours about every single day. Kate sits in about 20 minutes, and I sit in there about for a half hour. Usually watch a documentary, and it's extremely relaxing. It's really, really an incredible machine. And if you go to extremehealthradio.com/sauna, you can learn all about it. We did an entire hour interview with Phil Wilson. You can check that out. You can look at the pictures of us with it. You can watch videos on that page. It helps you to sleep really, really well. You can lose a lot of weight with it. You can burn, I think, around 600 calories in about 20 minutes or so. It improves your skin, increases circulation all over the body, and circulation is critical for your health. You can prevent and reverse diseases with it. If you have a cold or flu, it's incredible. It heats you down to the core. It heats 4 to 6 inches inside your body, so it's really incredible. And a lot of people use it for cancer as well. So if you have any kind of incurable, quote, disease, you can use it for that. And Dr. Shade is the foremost authority on detoxification. And listen to what he says about it.
How do I detoxify from plastics? I mean, you guys are using a sauna, and what does a sauna do for us? A sauna is great, but it's moving a number of different toxins. Remember, we talked about the mice, that if you put PCBs in there, then that made the mercury all that much worse. And sweating moves out a lot of plastics, volatiles, fat-based toxins. It's really good at moving those out, sweating those out. So that's how you're getting those out, and those are contributing to this synergistic soup inside the body. And so that's why they're good, is they're taking out a bunch of the different things in the soup.
And Daniel Vitalis, one of our favorite guests. What do you have to say about the sauna?
When you go into the sauna, like a far-infrared sauna like you discussed, your body goes into a deep relaxation mode, and your sympathetic nervous system shuts down and your parasympathetic nervous system turns on. And when that's active, that's the nervous system, part of your nervous system that's active when you meditate. That becomes active, and your detoxification pathways open up wide. Why is this important? It's important because when you go running and you sweat, you're not necessarily eliminating very much toxicity from your body. But when you sweat in the sauna, you eliminate a lot of toxicity from your body. So sweating in a relaxed state is how we eliminate. The other thing is that what's wonderful about the sauna is that it puts you in a parasympathetic nervous system response, like as if you were meditating. So it's almost a hack. It's like a trick to get yourself into a meditative, relaxed state, to decompress stress, to reverse the effects of stress, and to get your body eliminating deep, deep toxicity that's stored in your body fat, because it can come out in the oils of your skin. So I think, sauna is one of the most crucial detoxification, really health practices that we could take on, especially in this era of heavy toxicity, particularly fat-soluble toxins.
This sauna is really, really great. They offer payment plans because if you buy it through PayPal, it's 100% secure. You don't even need a PayPal account. I think you could do a payment plan through PayPal. It's got low EMF electromagnetic fields coming off of it. It's portable, so that means you don't have to knock down a wall in your house. You can just move it from room to room. It sets up in about 2 to 5 minutes. It's super easy to clean. All you got to do is wipe it down when you're done and wipe the neck down. And it produces energy and heat inside very, very evenly throughout the whole machine. All you have to do is sit in there for about 15 minutes a day. And the great thing I like about it too is it requires zero preheating. So you turn it on and you're starting to get warm and you're starting to detoxify with that far infrared light almost immediately. So it's really great. It comes with a 1-year warranty. It's about $990 plus $25 shipping. And that's really, really a good deal because if you look at most of the regular saunas out there, they are in the $2,000 to $4,000 range. So this is really, really a good deal. So check it out, extremehealthradio.com/sauna.
All free shows, all the time on Extreme Health Radio. Opening minds and transforming lives worldwide. Join our community today. Sign up to our email list and instantly get our free gift to you, along with loads of inspirational content and cutting-edge tips to help change your life at extremehealthradio.com/subscribe.
And if you guys have any questions about that sauna, please let me know. I'd love to help you out. We use ours every single day. We love it. It's a great way to detoxify mercury and the fat-soluble toxins that are in our environment. It's a great, great machine. So if you have any questions about the sauna, please let me know. And also, we'll put a link on this show page, episode 223. If you'd like to continue the discussion about what Ken is talking about, all the great conversations are going on in the forum with the extremehealthradio.com community. So all the listeners can go over there and continue the discussions about any particular episode. So we'll put a link on the show page, episode 223. And as the lady said, don't forget to sign up to our newsletter list. We've got a lot of great things coming on there every week for you guys, and you can stay up to date with our shows and just a great community on the newsletter. So don't forget to sign up for that. And so before the break, Ken, we were talking about your Zapper, and during the break, Kate and I were talking about it ourselves in terms of the fact that you made mention that, like a lot of the Rife machines, they have these specific frequencies for specific pathogens and toxins and these types of things. But the Ultimate Zapper sort of is able to bypass that because of these 12 different things that you use that work synergistically to accomplish the same results. Is that kind of correct?
Rife machines are frequency generators. They dial in specific frequencies to kill specific pathogens that vibrate at specific frequencies. Zappers kill pathogens with a single frequency, not specifically by the frequency itself, but by the positive offset square wave. This is what even the basic A6 design of Hulda Clark Zapper accomplished to a certain extent. The Ultimate Zapper is able to do this to a much more effective degree than other zappers because it has 12 features that create a unique formula. So it's the synergy of those features that works to kill the pathogens.
Isn't that wild? Okay, so I would imagine then that people that have high levels of parasites could do something like zapping, and would they see parasites exiting their bodies?
I have a section in the testimonial archive on parasites. These are often very scary and dramatic. Most people see nothing. I have never seen anything. Parasites, most of them are microscopic, but some people have seen tapeworms come out of them, all kinds of unbelievable things come out of them, but they are in a minority. I have, I imagine dozens of them in the testimonial archive, stories that people have sent in.
That's wild. And so with the Zapper, would this be a type of thing that people could use as a preventative, do you think?
Zapping can be used therapeutically in order to keep you in optimum health. You don't have to have a condition, a disease, an illness, something obvious that you want to focus on. The truth is that, as pathologists know, we all carry parasites and other pathogens in our bodies to some degree. Pathologists have estimated at least 2 pounds of parasites in the average person. Oh. So we're always carrying some load of parasites and other what I would call unwanted creatures in our bodies. And I believe that zapping is an important part of keeping healthy because it keeps the load down. Mm-hmm. And to the extent that these pathogens can be involved with creating what I call a chain of pathology, the chain being pathogens combined with metals and chemicals, the pathogens being opportunistic. To the extent that there is a chain of pathology that can form, zapping can, I believe, prevent the creation of a chain of pathology or make that chain much weaker than it would otherwise be if one were not zapping and killing off pathogens on a regular basis. So I do zapping on a regular basis a few times a week, even though I have no specific illness or condition to target, and this in fact does keep me very, very healthy. I rarely get. Can't remember the last time I had a cold, or I never get the flu.
Wow.
And so if someone were relatively healthy, let's say, would they use it for a specific amount of time? Like you said, 3 days a week. And what about people that are sick? Are there different amounts of times that people would use for different illnesses, or how does all that work?
Yes, this is a good question. On my instruction page, I let people know to start off at 15 seconds only. The reason being, many people who use the Ultimate Zapper tell me that they cannot use it for more than 15 seconds. They get full benefits, but if they use it beyond that, then they get a parasite die-off reaction, Herxenberg reaction. It's too strong for them.
Do they feel that immediately, Ken, or no?
Pardon me?
Do they feel that die-off immediately, or how do they know that they feel that?
They know right away. People who are sensitive know right away. They zap and they say, wow, that was unbelievable. I'm glad you told me 15 seconds only. I have people sometimes jump in. Sometimes they don't read the instructions. Sometimes they say, oh, I've been using another Zapper for 7 minutes at a time. I'll just jump in and do it 7 minutes. Then they get back to me, oh, my gosh. Oh, what happened to me? I used your Zapper for 7 minutes, and it was so strong.
I'm guessing all of those are men, right?
Men and women. People really feel the power of the Ultimate Zapper, and sensitive people react very quickly. So people who are not sensitive at 15 seconds can go up 30 seconds rather quickly. 1 minute. Add 1 minute per day or every second day, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. People who are not sensitive, they can do duration zapping, which is zapping for 15, 30, 45 minutes or 1 hour straight without any breaks. So it goes, there's not one size fits all. It goes the full gamut from 15 seconds up to an hour. How do you know? Well, you don't know if you're sensitive. That's why I recommend everybody start at 15 seconds. You'll find out very quickly if you're sensitive, if you have to keep down to a very, very short zapping cycle, or if you're not sensitive and if you can ramp up rather quickly.
So you'd want to try, so if you were sick with Lyme's disease or anything really, you'd still want to start out small and then continue on up.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
start off at 15 seconds. Just verify whether or not you are sensitive or hypersensitive. If you're not, go ahead and ramp up, slowly but steadily, and then you'll be fine. If you reach, you should zap to your what I call your maximum level of comfort, not discomfort. Once you reach a certain level where you start to feel, ooh, boy, I started to feel a little bit woozy, or, geez, what, I got the flu or something? You start to feel a little unwell. That's a sign of parasite die-off, Herxheimer reaction. Then you pull back. You should stop for 3 days. When you feel that, let everything clear out of your system, and then pull back to a level beneath the level where you started to feel discomfort.
Wow. And so with people using the Zapper, do they want to use it different parts of their body, or does it matter?
Good question. In the instructions, I let people know that if you want to target certain areas of the body, you can use the handholds and foot pads in a more direct manner. For instance, if you have a sinus infection or chronic sinus problems, you can put one handhold on one cheek and one handhold on the other cheek. The caveat being that if you have mercury fillings, you should not put the handholds near your face. You can hold them in your hand and zap according to the instructions, starting at 15 seconds. But don't put them near your face because you can get some galvanic action. You can get mobilizing of mercury from the fillings, which of course you do not want. The same thing goes for chelation and detoxification. If you have mercury fillings, you should not, or if you have braces, for example, you should not be doing chelation or any heavy detoxification, mentioning also saunas, which I was listening to in the break. I'm a great believer in saunas. In fact, I take a sauna myself nearly every day. And they're tremendously effective for detoxifying metals and other toxins from the body. But if you have mercury in your mouth, what you may be doing is, instead of taking the mercury out of your tissues and out through the pores into the sweat, what you may be doing is you may be taking the mercury from your fillings and redistributing it to areas in the body which you don't want to have that mercury arrive at, the brain, the kidneys, and other areas of the body. So you should be careful with detoxification. Detoxification must be done, as I write about in my recovery protocol, in a safe manner. And if you do things safely, and if you follow things closely, the way I write about it in my book, stressing slow and steady, step by step, and doing things safely, then you should have no problem.
Interesting. So, Ken, do we know about mercury? Is it one of those substances that sets up shop in certain parts of the body, or does it sort of just go through and wreak havoc on every organ it touches?
Well, that's also a very good question. Mercury has an affinity for fatty tissue. The brain being mostly fatty tissue, mercury has an affinity for the brain. It is the number one neurotoxin on the planet. It has an affinity for the kidneys. It has an affinity for breast tissue. Mercury will actually deposit itself all over the body in one degree or another, and can cause pathology. For instance, the concentration of mercury in the heart might not have to be as great as the concentration in the brain to cause problems versus the kidney. So the way mercury distributes itself in the body, looking for fatty tissue, is something that is very specific for each organ and bodily system. It will create pathology at certain levels. So, in other words, the cup runneth over. You can be feeling rather healthy, active, maybe a little sluggish, maybe some complaints, and all of a sudden, that's it. You wake up in the morning and you find you're in huge trouble, like I found out. So mercury accumulates over a period of years and often decades to cause, for instance, to cause neurological conditions. It takes many decades of accumulation in the brain. However, to cause childhood neurological problems does not take that long. In fact, mercury is found in the fetus at 2 times the levels that it's found in the mother. It crosses the placenta and is in the fetus, and so hence autism and a lot of other childhood neurological problems. So the etiology of childhood diseases is difficult to compare to adult diseases, especially in the neurological sphere. In other words, these are complex questions. These are complex issues. The bottom line is that mercury is the most toxic naturally occurring metal on the planet, other than radioactive plutonium. There is no physiological function for mercury in the healthy human body. There is for some metals such as copper, zinc, magnesium, there are physiological functions. But for mercury, there's no physiological function. The only safe level of mercury, therefore, in the human body is 0. It only takes parts per million to start to create certainly neurological problems and possibly other health problems. Parts per million, there are 500,000 parts per million in mercury fillings. There are very few parts per million, 1.5, maybe 2.3, something like this, in tuna fish, parts per million. And the government says we have to watch out for mercury-laden fish. Now, a fish is mercury-laden with 1.5 to 2.3 parts per million, but a person who carries 500,000 parts per million in the mouth is not mercury-laden.
Yeah, go figure, right?
Right?
You know, it's funny. We heard, what's his name, Dr. Hal Huggins, that we spoke about earlier. And for those who don't know, Dr. Huggins is the premier guy on mercury, and he brought all this out many, many years ago. And I heard him say once that you start getting into mercury poisoning when you get to the level of 1 atom in someone's body.
Yes, that's what he said. That's correct.
Yeah, crazy.
But pathology, pathology, of course, will take a lot longer, and it's very dependent on your individual constitution, on your immune system as well. But Dr. Huggins said that 92% of people are sensitive to mercury. The ADA says, well, it's only people who have mercury allergy. You know, we only worry. They have a way of squirming out of anything that has to do with mercury. But Dr. Huggins maintained in his book, It's All in Your Head, that 92% of the population is mercury sensitive, which means that only 8% of people will successfully be able to fight off the ravages of mercury toxicity through their lifetime, and that's 8%. That's not very many.
It's not very many. So what about what is this Zapper doing? We know it's killing parasites and things like that. What is it doing to mercury? Does it do anything to mercury itself?
Ooh. Good question.
No, Zapper. There are. That's an interesting question because there are different Zapper makers out there who say that their Zapper helps to detoxify metals, and I talk about this on my homepage. Well, what detoxifies metals are a number of things. Saunas can help to detoxify metals. Chelators are the primary agents for detoxifying metals. These are agents that bond with mercury and other metals. Most of them will also bond with minerals and pull them out of the body. Via the feces and the urine. Mercury is eliminated 90% through the feces, by the way, but fecal testing is not so easy, so most people do the urine testing. Mm-hmm. When we're talking about detoxification, it's a whole other world. And you have to be very, very careful. This is what I write about in my recovery protocol. You have to be very careful about how you detoxify, the rate of detoxification, and the kind of detoxifiers you use in order to do this successfully.
Yeah, we've heard people talk about the order of detoxification in terms of, you probably know a lot about this, in terms of the organs. Some people will inherently say that you should detoxify your liver first, but then other people say, no, that's not right because the liver needs to be able to get rid of these toxic heavy metals and things.
And you're taxing wrong organs at wrong times
and
causing more
well,
problems.
This is very complex. This is very complex. The whole issue of how detoxification works. I have a number of chapters on this in my book, talking about how to detoxify. The liver must be protected. The liver is very, very important. What you point out is very true. But I think it's false that we think that the mind says, "Oh, I've got to detoxify this organ first." Well, wait a minute. How does the detoxifier know what you're thinking? You know,
right?
DMSA doesn't know that you want it to go there. It'll go where it wants to go, right? Where it is designed, where it wants to go, where the body wants it to go, and that's also kind of complex. But what you want to do is you want to take something like milk thistle to help the liver during the whole process. If you take dandelion root, that will help liver detoxification. Red clover, will also help for the blood. Milk thistle is the number one herb for helping to protect the liver and helping the liver to detoxify. So that's one thing that I would recommend. The Ultimate Zapper will not, getting back to the previous question, is not a chelator. It will not pull out metals from the body. No zapper will do that, no matter what any zapper maker says. In fact, there's no zapper maker who comes up with any proof whatsoever except a claim, and it's a false claim, and I don't make that claim. On the contrary, I tell people the Ultimate Zapper is not a mercury or a metal detoxifier. However, what the Ultimate Zapper has, which other zappers do not have, and many other zapper makers say is impossible, which is not impossible because I've proven the science wrong, is that the Ultimate Zapper has a powerful electroporation effect. The electroporation effect creates a temporary porosity in the cells and allows nutrients and herbs and medication to enter the cells much more effectively. I have a whole section on electroporation. The link is in my testimonial archive, and I have a whole page on electroporation with electroporation testimonials on my site. In other words, if you're taking milk thistle and you zap, within an hour, the milk thistle will be infused much more effectively. It will be much more enhanced in the cells. If you are taking a chelator and you want to experiment with zapping at the same time, the Ultimate Zapper will enhance the effect of any chelator. The best thing to do is, if you're using the Ultimate Zapper for heavy-duty chelators such as DMSA, to consult an expert who will guide you through the chelation process, a practitioner, and talk to them about electroporation while doing that. I would be very, very gentle with it. Natural chelators you may be able to be a little less gentle with. For instance, coriander or cilantro. If you want to zap while using cilantro, I think that you could be much more aggressive than if you're using, let's say, DMSA or ALA.
I see.
Do many people ever do like a chelation sort of therapy first and kind of get that through their system and then go to the zapper, or vice versa? Or is it usually people that are trying it at the same time in what you've found?
Well, this is a good question. The sequence, that you should follow. First of all, of course, is safe dental work. You cannot do any chelation without having all of the mercury out of your mouth. If you have braces, you can't consider it because you're going to become nickel toxic and toxic with other metals. So what you can do when you are looking at a situation of pathology is you can start to gently zap in order to start to break the chain of pathology by killing the opportunistic pathogens that are attracted to mercury and other metals, because inevitably it's not just mercury. When you get the test data back from the lab, most people, as I was, are toxic with quite a number of metals. The levels will vary, of course. So the chelation process happens gradually. I tell people how to chelate, how many days, how many milligrams. It will take many months for most people to chelate, and then to use other modalities to detoxify after the whole chelation process is over. One should not be too aggressive. One should not do too many things at once. You can end up in trouble. Dr. Andrew Cutler's protocol, for example, has been used with disastrous results by people who have ignored my advice not to do it. The dosages are way too high. It's a very, very aggressive program that many people, I could not tolerate it, and I know people who have ended up in the hospital with irreparable kidney damage. So you have to be very careful. Go slowly. Go steadily. Be with an expert practitioner, and I guide people with my book how to find an expert practitioner. And also, do not zap. If you're using heavy-duty chelators, do not zap on the days when you are doing chelation. Wait till your chelation course is finished, when the chelator has a chance to work its way through your body, it's out of your body, and then you can start to zap remineralizing, because chelation and other forms of detoxification can take a lot of minerals from the body. You have to remineralize, and when you do that, then you can zap, and the electroporation effect will enhance the infusion of minerals into your cells and into your tissues and organs to make you healthy again for the next course of chelation. So this is the kind of process I go through, very slow, steady, safe.
That's wild.
The most important thing.
Have you ever had anyone talk with you about doing the zapping or the chelation maybe at the same time, perhaps a couple days after the new moon? Because we know that around the new moon, we've heard many people talk about how parasites get with each other and produce more and things like that. Have you ever worked with a schedule like that?
No, I haven't. I'm aware of this, and I have talked to people by email about this, but I haven't got back enough really hard information about the cycle in order to really give a strong opinion. I don't have a strong feeling about it yet.
Yeah. I'm sure it might take some more research and study and testimonials.
It's going to take more people coming to me and letting me know.
Yeah.
Now, what about your ebooks? I see you have 3 ebooks here. I think I saw on some parts of your site where if someone were to order a Zapper, they get an ebook that comes with it, or how does all that work?
The Ultimate Liver Cleanse, which is it is a version of the Hulda Clark liver cleanse, but much more powerful.
Okay.
When I started off, I was getting spotty results. Friends who were doing liver cleanses, Dr. Clark's cleanse, getting spotty results. And then I developed the Ultimate Liver Cleanse, and then the results, were really coming in very, very, very strongly. Wow. So I include this free with each Zapper purchase, the Ultimate Liver Cleanse. I sell 2 other books, The Risks of Chelation. I talk about the risks of largely DMPS and EDTA, which is contraindicated for many conditions, including neurological conditions. So I talk about the risks of chelation. That's and my primary book, which is called My Recovery Protocol, which gives a step-by-step rundown of what I did. This is everything that I have done. These are not ideas. These are not, notions or hopes or dreams. This is what I did to recover my health, and it tells people exactly what I did and how I did it, step by step.
And those 2 books are available for purchase. Is that correct?
Yes, with the purchase of of a Zapper, you see, my recovery protocol is $44.95, but with the purchase of a Zapper, it's only $24.95, and you get free follow-up for as long as you need it. And I consider that a very reasonable offer. The risk of chelation is $19.95. And I'm coming out with, as I mentioned earlier, with a book talking about my story in the most personal way, not the recovery protocol, but exactly what happened to me, the story of my life through these two illnesses, through the recovery, and the story of the medical system, and what I learned about the medical system in the process, in order to come to a higher level of awareness of what I was up against and what other people are up against when they're trying to fight incurable diseases.
Wow, that sounds interesting. So when is that coming out?
That should be coming out, I hope, by this summer. I've been working on it for years. Dr. Clark's publishing company agreed to publish it years ago, and I hope they'll still remember me. But I will sell it. I will sell it on my site, and I hope to be done by this summer. I'm doing another. I'm going through another rewrite. As I say, this has been a very long process. I want to get it as right as I can with the first edition. I revised my recovery protocol last year, and I will probably do a revision later this year after I finish Against All Odds, which is the name of my new book.
Oh, that sounds amazing. And so I want to ask you a couple final questions. I know we got to wrap up here, but are you familiar with the work of Dr. Boyd Haley and his oxidative stress relief, OSR, I think he called it, in terms of chelation?
Yes, I'm familiar with it. I have not used it. I don't have any reports from people who have. It doesn't seem that it has entered the mainstream, the so-called mainstream of alternative medicine yet. I'm waiting for more information and more reports, but I'm very aware of it, and I'm aware that there's some very strong claims made for it.
Yeah, there's been some people talking about it, and I think what I've learned about it is that I think the wrong people found out about it, and they were sort of confiscated everything and prevented him from producing more of it. But there were a couple outfits online. I can't remember who they are now, but they did still have some if customers would contact them privately. But
I see.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure about that though.
Well, with DMSA, there's no problem because it was FDA approved.
Wow. So I have another question about your Zapper. In closing up here, how often do you run across new technologies yourself that you look at and you kind of play with and you think, you know what, maybe I should add this to the Zapper to enhance it? Do you ever run across upgrades that you would like to do like that?
You must be psychic. That's a good question. Yes, I've run across a couple of things, and I've been working on something for years, and wow. I'm also on the point of coming out with a new model.
Oh my goodness, really?
Yeah.
That is so great. Wow. So when
that should be out within 2 months.
Within 2 months. Wow. Mm-hmm. Will that be at the same price point, do you think, or will it be more expensive?
No, that'll be more expensive because there are new elements that are added to it, and there are increased costs of the various elements, and also production costs. So it will be more expensive. The new model SE I have, the new model XE I have, which is the updated model from the SE, and this will be the new model QE.
Wow. You know, I'm thinking as you're talking about these zappers and things, and I saw on one of your FAQ pages, is it safe to do with pets? And people can go on there and read your response. But I was thinking, as I read that question, that people would want to probably, I would imagine, zap themselves if they had pets, because I'm sure there's a passage of parasites from animals to human.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Most people who zap their pets, of course, realize that and zap themselves as well. I have a very large section, and some of the pet testimonials are really truly amazing. I think of Monique and some of the other people who have been writing me through the years in my testimonial archive. So I encourage people to look at that. Yes, definitely, because the parasites are transferred from our pets to ourselves. We should be zapping ourselves as well as our pets, for sure.
Now, how often do you, gosh, I could talk with you for an hour, but how often do you yourself do a liver cleanse?
Well, I haven't done a liver cleanse for quite a while because I started to get only chaff coming out, just small little particles. I got out so-called stones. They're not stones. They're waxy agglomerations. They're cholesterol, which is this is disputed by experts. They say no, it must be agglomeration of olive oil, but of course olive oil doesn't congeal at body temperature.
Right.
It melts at body temperature. So I had these coming out the size of half a walnut out of my body, pea size, cherry pit size, and half a walnut. And I did this. I did 15, 16, 17 cleanses until I started to get only chaff coming out, one after the next, one cleanse after the next. And so then I started to ease off the cleanses because I was pretty well set. But I will probably start back at them soon. I've got a new setup to do liver cleansing now, and I'll probably start back and see if I can get some so-called stones out.
Wow, that sounds amazing. So is your new Zapper going to be similar in terms of having the handheld device and the foot rests and things like that?
Yes, the foot pads, the handholds will be the same, but there are two important elements that are being added that we've been testing for quite a while that are proving to be very, very impressive. Wow. And so it will be essentially an updated and super ultimate Zapper coming out. Supercharged.
Yeah, that's amazing, guys. Really exciting that you are putting this together and creating updated versions. And I'm just wondering, just curious, if you're ever thinking about the powers that be, if they dislike what you're doing.
Well,
I wonder.
This is a good question. Years ago, there were a couple of attempts to shut me down, but they fell by the wayside. These were government programs that were trying to shut down a number of zappers. Mm-hmm. You see, basically, we're talking about a pulse generator. Now, it's a very the whole area of how strongly the medical system and the powers that be behind the medical system feel that there is a threat, and if there's a political will to do something about it. You see, these are political issues. Lately, there hasn't been very much pressure, but if it comes down to it, there are ways to survive if pressure is being brought to bear. So I think that other Zapper makers, what they have done essentially is they have taken their site away completely from any ordering information. You see, they have separated the two completely, and so this is a way that has been very effective for people who have been under pressure to keep going. So I don't think to tell you the truth, it's going to be very, very difficult for zappers to be run out of town to put it that way. I think it would be very, very difficult for a concerted effort on the part of authorities be brought to bear against the entire, all of the manufacturers of zappers to shut down the whole thing. I don't see that. I don't see that as being a real threat.
Yeah, and plus, what we're talking about is just these zappers just make you feel good. They don't cure anything, do they? Right?
Well, it's a problem because as long as you don't make any medical claims, which I don't, but of course then the authorities can say, well, you're making medical claims. You see,
right.
Feeling better is the most important thing as far as I'm concerned, because what you have here is a device that's doing no harm and that's only doing good. And and the authorities cannot say that about, for instance, about pharmaceutical products. The government admits this was quite a while ago. A survey was done. They admit that 125,000 people are killed every year through drug interaction. Mm-hmm. Well, can you imagine if there was one or two people killed? If there were one or two people killed through by any zapper, which has never occurred. Right. You know what I mean? This is a matter of politics. There are zappers, in fact. Electroporators, the Eppendorf Electroporator is over $2,000. It is a zapper that's or a frequency generator that's being used with government approval in order to target the cells with drugs for certain illnesses, for certain diseases. So the authorities know, they have known for a long time that electromedicine is very, very powerful, and my point is that these are we're talking about devices that are doing no harm and that are only doing good, and it would be very, very difficult under the circumstances to make a concerted effort to shut the whole thing down, as I said. I agree. Well, we have a couple Terminator zappers, and I'm looking at your comparison chart here, and this Ultimate Zapper looks really amazing, and I think it's going to be amazing for people who are listening to this now to wait for a couple months for your new Zapper to come out. That's going to be even more exciting. Well, I hope that people will get as good results as we're getting with it, because it seems to be able to get deep down for chronic conditions that have been a bit elusive with the new Model XE and new Model SE, and do an even better job for people. For most people, the SE and XE may be very, very adequate, but for some people, having a super powerful zapper like the QE may be something that they would want to look at and to use.
Yeah, that's awesome. So,
wow.
Pretty soon you're going to run out of letters when you keep making new zappers.
Well,
to go to numbers.
Let me see now. SC, XC, QE. Well, we're doing okay.
You have to go with the version 1.0, 2.0 pretty soon.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, thanks a lot, Ken, for your work and for spending some time with us on the show. We're going to close out the live show. Hang tight, Ken. We're going to close out the live show for everyone. Oh, actually, we're not.
We're not live.
That's right. We're not live.
You need to zap. You have something going to the brain.
I have some parasites in the brain. I was just going to go do the live show. I'm so used to it. Well, anyway, thanks, Ken. I really appreciate your time and your work. It's amazing.
Yes, thank you very much.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And do you have any social media sites that we should link to in our page?
I don't do the social media thing. I'm so busy with everything I'm doing, and I'm out there already. I haven't even bothered. I know a lot of people mention this to me, and I'm talked about all over the place. But my time is very precious to me, and I work 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and I don't know where I'd find the time for it.
Okay, well that's okay. I just wanted to, in case you did have some, I didn't want to not link to those. So
okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Ken, and we'll be in contact. Thanks. I'll send you the link to the show as soon as I have it available.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Thanks so much, Ken.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye-bye. Well, I just about did the live show thing and didn't even realize we weren't live. I forgot about that.
That was funny.
Maybe I've got a worm in my brain.
I know we do.
I'm sure we do.
Ken Presner, I'm thinking, might know a thing or two.
Yeah.
Good night.
Pretty fascinating stuff, isn't it? What do you think? You want to try the Ultimate Zapper, what is it, QE?
I'll try any of those numbers.
Yeah?
The QE, the RM, the 85,000. Throw it at me. I'll try it.
Yeah, he's going to have to go to the 1.0, 2.0
That
thing.
was pretty funny. He might have to. Yeah.
Sounds interesting, though, huh?
You know what? I mean, in my own life, looking back, kind of like he did, talking about putting all the puzzle pieces together, is when he started realizing that maybe some of this stemmed from all the things that was leading up to his actual illness. Because I swear, in the last 8-9 years are when my digestive problems have really flared up, and I've been way more sensitive, and that's all started with my amalgam fillings getting taken out from when I was a child, but obviously not in the right way.
So you had those taken out in Mexico?
I did. We went over the border, had them taken out without the proper precautions. I didn't know at the time, obviously, and I feel like that's kind of looking back. I'm tracing it and linking it to that time in life.
Your digestive problems?
And that's the same. I had gotten a root canal as well at the same time down there.
Oh, those weren't two different trips?
Root canal once, and then the second trip down there, my amalgam fillings out.
How do you remember how close it was together that we went down there? Was it
within a few months of each other?
Really?
Yeah.
So how many mercury fillings did you have taken out?
I think 3.
You had 3?
2 or 3.
You know what's crazy is you wonder how many molecules and atoms. I mean, I don't know how many atoms there are in a molecule, but how many molecules of mercury there are in one filling. Right, and then you would times that by 20 with the atoms. And when Dr. Hal Huggins talks about 1 atom of mercury being too much.
Yeah, when you said that, I'm like, oh, then we've got some issues.
Yeah,
Everybody's
so
got.
Even though you only had 3 fillings that were maybe as much mercury that would fit on the end of your pinky nail, that is still, I don't know, hundreds of thousands or millions of molecules, and then times 10 of atoms. So you can trace it back pretty well?
I think I can. And what's going on right now with me is we went and got to see and spent some amazing time with Dr. Massey last month when we were in Austin. Or this month, I'm sorry.
Dr. Richard Massey.
Dr. Richard Massey.
We'll put a link to his show.
I love that man. He did a live blood cell analysis on me, and he said, yeah, you have quite a ring of, he showed me on the blood, the ring of heavy metals I had still in my body.
Could he tell if it was mercury or?
You know what, that's a good question. He didn't say, but he said you definitely have a lot of heavy metal stuff going on. So the formation was there, and he said that's something to take a look at, as well as the root canal tooth I did have pulled and extracted the day after we met with him from Dr. Stoughton Unley. But I'm feeling like, I'm starting to put this all together because I definitely have a parasitic condition going on. So the fact that today Ken Presner was talking about the parasites and the mercury amalgam all going together, he talked about his own digestive issues. I mean, it just makes sense that could lead into something like, I mean, any kind of disease, but like a Crohn's disease, a colitis. I mean, I feel like all the research I've done, I'm not saying I have those things, but I have exactly so many of those symptoms.
Right.
Along with, I mean, I've seen the parasites coming out. He talked about how some people don't see any of the, they're microscopic. They don't see any of these creatures.
Well, you had one that was, what, a foot long?
Probably a foot and a half. I mean,
if you guys want to see the picture of that, it's on Kate's blog that's linked to on the homepage. But
called My Enema Experience, I believe. Yeah. But holy mackerel.
So that's crazy, isn't it?
Yep.
Wow.
So I feel like every time I really resonate with people talking about, I feel like everyone's putting together my puzzle pieces. They're giving me the pieces, and I'm actually the one putting together, I guess I should say. But it's starting to make sense to me, all these things.
It makes sense, too, because if you have Crohn's disease, it's interesting to me. I can't even imagine what the surgery is for Crohn's disease. Because
they remove part of your bowel.
Is that what they do? Because they obviously don't. It's not like they open up your intestine, fix it, and close it back up. They just remove it.
Yeah, they don't like clean you out or whatever. I mean,
yeah,
they take out pieces of your body.
Is that what that's what the fix is for Crohn's?
Yeah, Crohn's, colitis. They take out pieces of your colon. They'll take out pieces of your intestines.
That is crazy. It's crazy because you think about. I mean, the intestines being, what do they say? It's the size of 2 tennis courts if you unfold it, and then it's 30 feet, 5 feet long.
That was shocking to me when you told me that. I had no idea.
So I wonder if the mercury's getting into the body, and it's, like he said, it's kind of mobilizing and moving throughout the different organs and tissues, and it's causing some worms to grow in your intestine and damaging the villi. That's probably why it's causing the Crohn's. And then, in order to eat up all those cells, candida has to come, and your body thinks it's dying, so it's creating worms. You know what I mean? Like it's this whole festering.
That's interesting. You just said that. So you think the worms are like go along with the decomposition? It's
Yeah.
like a decomposing process.
That's my guess.
I never thought of it like that.
Because why would you have worms? Like if you go and you look at, food that you throw out in the garbage or maggots that are on dead things. I mean, they're eating up the dead carcass. And so when your
Right.
body thinks it's dying,
Right.
or parts of it die, it would make sense that now these larvae that you've ingested on your food would
Think
start
you're a weak link and that you're
hatching.
going, so they're
And energetically, maybe they wake up because they know that your cells are dying, so they need to be there in order to eat, to do their job.
Well, that's intense.
So it's just crazy, isn't it?
I love these conversations. They just get me really excited. I get off the phone and the call going, okay, here's another piece. Now I can move forward. Now I can read this book. Now I can do this. Now, I mean, I'm nowhere near figuring out what it is I need to do for my own body and my own situation. It's unique like everyone else's, but I'm so grateful.
At the best, what we can do is take everyone's input and sort of see if it's a puzzle piece that fits within the story that we're creating with or for our lives.
Sure.
So, if this resonates with you and you're listening to this, maybe there's something to the parasites, the mercury fillings, or the mercury coal-fired plants, all around the country that are just off-gassing into the air through chemtrails and, different factories and things. And so if you can create a story and go back, I mean, that's what Ken does. And none of these people can tell you, only God can tell you what's really going on in your body. All we can do is sort of just take what someone like Ken says and take something that someone else says and sort of build this puzzle that makes sense. That's right. I mean, that's about
right.
all
And
we
everyone,
can do.
that's the thing about this show and anybody else's show and podcast that we listen to. It's like everyone's puzzle is completely different. Mm-hmm. So the guests, I'm so happy we have such a wide array of guests that have a different piece to hand different people.
Right.
Because, I mean, you might have gotten something out of episode, 122 or whatever versus this episode. Like, everyone's handed different pieces, which I think is just so fascinating. Like, I resonated with Ken Presner today more than a lot of people just because three or four things he talked about, I'm like, that's my issue. Like, that's
your issue.
And then I found little pieces and nuggets here and there, and it's just, it's amazing what's out there and what finds you at the right time.
Yeah. It's interesting because on a spiritual level, we don't, we understand that we are not our story and that a story is just that. It's just a story we tell ourselves. But on a physical level, it's good to kind of listen to shows like this or anybody you can and build a story as to why you think you're dealing with certain symptoms. And then once you have your story, then you can kind of develop a protocol that would help correct the story, the problem in your life. But then once you've developed a protocol, then you want to step back from your story and say, you know what, I trust that this protocol I'm going to do is going to work, but I'm not my story and none of this is me. My physical body is not me anyway. And so you want to step back from your story at some point that makes sense to you. You know what I mean? And not identify with it, because if you get wrapped up with, I have cancer, I have Crohn's, you're never going to get well.
Right.
Right.
That's a hard balance to find your story and then let your story go.
I know, right?
Find your story just enough so you know how to what path you need to go down to continue in health and prosperity, and then just completely not buy into it anymore. I mean, it's an odd.
It's a weird thing.
Odd thing.
Yeah, because ultimately, our story is just that.
I know.
It's just a story.
This is why the Extreme Health Radio journey continues, because it is always something new and fascinating to
I know, right?
To learn and let go, and in the letting go, the learning happens by itself. It's wild.
So, what do you think? You want to get one of these things?
I want to zap myself to high heaven.
You know me. I made that joke with him. I'll get this thing, and because we have the Terminator Zapper, and you're supposed to start off with 7 minutes a day on that.
Yeah.
I'll get this thing. I'll sleep with it.
Girl, 15.
I'll barely be alive the next morning.
Girl, 15 seconds.
I'll be hanging on to dear life.
I'll have to moderate you. I'm going to be the one looking over you and let me have your Zapper. Return it to me now.
Return it to
15
me.
seconds, you're done.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. But that does make sense. It's slow and steady wins the race. In so many things, I think, with the modalities that we're exposed to and the things we can buy and the tools, I think it is so easy for one, including myself, to want to jump in and just charge it, because especially if in your place when you haven't been feeling good, you're like, I will do anything. You get super excited and you want to try things super fast. Personally, I do feel like the more I've stepped back, done things slowly. It is part of my journey of learning the healing happens at a slower level. And that's the thing personally for me, is to realize not to panic. No matter what anybody tells you, if there's some blood test that comes back that's funky, like I have had this year, don't panic. Don't freak out. And you're going to be a lot better off if you just take a little bit of time, step back emotionally from the situation as much as you can, and proceed at a slower level. It's like I feel like as long as I'm doing something that's good daily, I then open up myself to, okay, I'll spend a little more time doing something good. I'll add in another little something good. It's I don't know. It's
little baby steps and keeping a level head.
Keeping a level head is the name of the game.
And you really have to, each person has to get to that level where they can keep a level head in a different way. Certain practices are going to help. Some people may want to meditate. Some people may want to pray. Some people may just want to sit in silence. But there's a point in your life where developing the discipline to be able to have a level head in the face of adversity is the name of the game, because we're all going to face that.
Totally.
And so looking at a diagnosis or looking at some sort of level that's too high or too low, having that spiritual centeredness and awareness to look at that and say, okay, so what can I do? This is an opportunity for me to do something. And if I die in the process, I die in the process. And there's no real death anyway.
Right.
But how can I be example to people around me so that they don't freak out when they have something?
I know.
You know, and so it's a much greater journey than just, taking your vitamins.
Taking your Flintstone vitamins every day, like we did as a kid.
Yeah.
No, it is. It's a greater journey.
I'm curious about this Zapper. I want to try it.
Yeah, that Zapper looks amazing. what
did he call it? The new one, the QE? Is that what he says?
SE or QE?
Well, the ones he has now are SE and XE.
Oh, X. Okay, yeah, I think it's the Q. I think it was
QE.
Q.
Yeah. Yeah, I like this comparison chart because I have like you said, we have the Terminator Zapper.
That's such a great name.
But you know what I like about the Terminator is you can sleep with it. But I guess I didn't ask him on the show. I wanted to ask him about, can you just sit and watch TV? We don't really watch TV, but I guess you can sit and watch a movie or something for 10 minutes if you use it for that long. I guess he's got a whole instruction manual, doesn't he?
You know what I think it's cool? It's called the Ultimate Zapper. It doesn't sound as aggressive and negative as the Terminator. You know how we talk about things that mentally, like, kind of like, you're battling cancer, you're fighting this, you're killing that. Like, it's kind of cool. It's a little more positive.
Yeah, the ultimate.
The ultimate zapper. It's positive.
It's positive.
Will ultimately help you. It will ultimately zap all that stuff out of your body.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, it's not
I'm not saying the Terminator's a bad thing, but
no.
When you do hear a model like SE, it sounds way nicer than like, rah, go in and eat up and kill everything in your body.
I like this. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I do too.
So check out his website if you're interested, zap.intergate.ca. I wonder why that is his...
Yeah, it's like he's in Canada, he's in maybe Cambodia?
Well, CA is Canada.
Oh, that's right.
But Intergate must be some...
Intergate.
Maybe intergate.ca is his website, and then zap.intergate.ca is just the Zapper website. Anyway, we'll put a link to that on the show. This is episode 223. And if you guys want to continue the discussion about any of these topics that we talked about on this show page, head over to our forum, because that's where all the action's happening. That's where all the listeners are going and talking about the different shows that we do and their different health struggles and challenges. And you can also go there and interact with other members and ask your questions, and they can help you out as well. So lots going on in the forum. We'll put a link to this specific show thread in the forum on this show page. So all you got to remember is extremehealthradio.com/223, and we'll put a link to the forum where we're going to be talking about Ken Presner and his Ultimate Zapper. What do you think of that?
I like it.
How do you like them apples?
I love them apples.
Yeah, so check out his site, and if you have any questions about anything and want to interact with us, please let us know or contact us in the forum. And make sure to check out our live show. Our next live show is going to be Free for All Friday. Is that correct?
Correct. Tomorrow.
Is that right? Yep. Friday morning, 9 a.m. And all our shows are Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific. So don't forget to join us live and ask your questions. And that's about it, right?
I'm going to go eat something.
You go eat a Zapper?
I might. Well, that might not be as ideal.
It's like the guy that ate the car. Do you remember that?
Oh, the airplane.
The airplane, that's right.
Piece by piece metal. That guy definitely has heavy metal toxicity.
I was going to ask you should go see Dr. Massey to see some.
Can you imagine? Dr. Massey wouldn't even be able to get his blood. It would just he'd poke him with a needle and it'd be like solid. It'd be like metal. He'd be a metal man.
He's like RoboCop.
Dude, that'd be awesome.
That's funny. So I wanted to let you guys know too, if you want to listen to the interview that we did with Dr. Massey, we'll link that up. An amazing doctor. And also our dentist, Dr. Stuart Nunley. We cannot recommend him enough. If you are looking for a biological dentist, go see him. We flew from California to Texas, and it was worth every red cent.
Every red cent,
as they say.
Good one. I never heard that before.
He is the most amazing guy. And what you would do is just go check out carecredit.com, get a care credit limit, and slap it on there, and get some real work done that's going to improve your health, as you can tell from what Ken Presner was saying about Mercury.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. In 2010, we got our Mercury out. And
you did. I got mine out many years ago.
That's right. Mm-hmm. And then we just went back to get our root canals fixed and cavitations fixed from Dr. Nunley. Incredible dentist. So he's the guy. He's the go-to guy. Mm-hmm. I'd recommend. So anyway, thank you for joining us on this show. We'll catch you on the next episode. And if you'd like to support us, please check out our store. We're going to be adding more products to that. And consider buying through Amazon, extremehealthradio.com/Amazon through our link. And we would be incredibly grateful if you would purchase products through Amazon, through our link. That would help keep everything free. So those are two ways you can help support us.
Please. Thank you, guys. We appreciate it. It keeps us going.
Okay, everybody. Thanks so much. And we'll catch you on the next show.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode.
It's time to go for now. But our mission does not end with this show.
Justin and Kate will be back with another interview packed full of ideas, discoveries, and unique ways to regain your health.
Head on over to extremehealthradio.com/subscribe and instantly download our free gift too that contains cutting-edge strategies to start making healthy lifestyle changes today.
No material on this blog is intended to suggest that you should not seek professional medical care. Always work with qualified medical professionals, even as you educate yourself in the field of live food nutrition and alternative medicine. I'm not a doctor, nor am I offering readers or listeners medical advice of any kind. None of the information offered here should be interpreted as a diagnosis of any disease, nor an attempt to treat or prevent any disease or condition. While information in this blog and during this podcast is